Brexiteers have hailed a big win for the UK's trade relationship with the US as Washington has removed 25% tariffs on British shortbread. International Trade Secretary Liz Truss welcomed the decision by Washington to also refrain from slapping tariffs on imports of gin and blended whiskey. But she pointed out that the US still has tariffs on goods such as single malt Scotch and vowed to step up efforts to pressure US Trade Representative Robert Lighthizer to lift the punitive border taxes. She said, "These tariffs are in no one's interest. I am in further talks with USTR to remove them ASAP." Shankar Singham, CEO of the trade law consultancy Competer, congratulated Ms. Truss on the government's latest announcement. Mr. Singham, a trade advisor to the government, tweeted, "Congrats to Liz Truss on a big win here." But as she notes, more to go. Ms. Truss last week met with Mr. Lighthizer in Washington for trade talks. The tariffs imposed on UK goods are as part of a long-running trade dispute with the EU. Mr. Lighthizer announced Washington would not go ahead with a threatened extension of the tariff regime, which would have hit more British products such as gin and blended whiskey. In a modest easing of the tariffs, Mr. Lighthizer said on Wednesday that products such as shortbread would now be lifted as the two sides continue to seek a resolution to the dispute over EU subsidies to aeroplane maker Airbus. Mr. Lighthizer warned the EU still had not done enough for the US to consider any further easing of the tariffs, which cover $7.5 billion £5.75 billion worth of European and UK products. He said, "The EU and member states have not taken the actions necessary to come into compliance with World Trade Organization decisions. The United States, however, is committed to obtaining a long-term resolution to this dispute. Accordingly, the United States will begin a new process with the EU in an effort to reach an agreement that will remedy the conduct that harmed the U.S. aviation industry and workers and will ensure a level playing field for U.S. companies." Moray's MSP Richard Lochhead warned the remaining tariffs pose a serious threat to jobs in Moray and Speyside. He said, "Confirmation that the 25% tariff on Scotch whisky exports to the US is set to remain in place will come as a huge blow to the sector, and will have a disproportionate effect on Speyside.